In this video, I give to you the best approach to explore complex queries inside a RESTful application with Java.
The first step is creating a scope where we will explore travel agency with city, price, type of travel, and so on. To achieve that, I will use Helidon. I create from Helidon starter. I just included JNoSQL, where you can see a little bit of what will coming in Jakarta EE12. As you can see, I'm using Eclipse JNoSQL, where I will combine Jakarta NoSQL with Jakarta Data. And actually, I'm using Oracle NoSQL, but you can switch easily between NoSQL database as you wish. So if you want to move to MongoDB, ArangoDB, and so on, it is totally okay. Just switch the driver and also the credentials. So I just included here, not you, but at my microprofile, 3 attributes or 3 properties. One is about the key value, database name, document, and naturally the roles or the connection to Oracle NoSQL. In this case, I'm using locally. So let's start creating the entity. So I will create a travel entity. So travel. We can use both record or class. So I will use record here just to see the simplicity. I will define UUID as the name. So the city. Let's define travel type as one type, so as an enumerator. And then what can I do as next step is define this class as an entity. As you can see, it is pretty similar to Jakarta persistency. So I'll define an ID, I define a column as well, and finally column. In this case, let's use big decimal. The travel type I need to create, 1 second. I will create as an enumerator. Done. So right now we have our entity and the type. The next step, for simplicity, we will use Jakarta Data. So I will create my travel repository where with a single annotation, I can activate the Jakarta Data and then use this extends. I can use, let's say, the travel repository. Inside my travel repository, I will need at least 3 methods that I will include. The first one is the one that we're gonna handle with complex query. So it will list travel, and then we will search, and we will use the newest type, so restriction, and I will define here. The next one is I will do account by. So it will do account if it does restrictions. And naturally what I can do is define the 4 methods where I will do is boolean is empty, where as you can see, I'm checking if the count by returns 0. If yes, it is empty. So right now we have the entity, the repository. I will create as next step my filter request. So this one here will be the data transfer object that will handle the information. So my travel filter request. This one here will be a pretty similar with what you have. So city, then type, and finally
the min price and the max price. So private, big decimal, min price, private, max price. Then I will create, not the constructor, the getters using the record style. But what I wish to do is put as optional, because I may have or I may not have this information. So the travel, the optional here. Next step, I will compile and then create our travel service. My travel service will basically have a method to do a complex query and also to load some information, just to simplify. So travel service, where I will define an application scope, I will inject my repository, I will create, as I'm using CDI, I need to define as inject, and then if you remember what I said at the beginning, we have two databases supported by Oracle NoSQL, so I need to define each one I will use. With CDI, I need to define by qualifier. So I come here, database, and then I will define the type, that is document. And I will create one more constructor. This time just define as a null. And the load, where I will inject as post construct. I will check if it is empty. If it is empty, I will create my travels. So almost there. I need just to define the big decimal, done. So I'm checking if my repository is empty. If it's empty, please put some information. Let's see if they can help me with more suggestions. Tokyo, Sydney, I guess 5 is more than enough. And then I will create our search. So I come here, list of travel, search, where I have my search. The suggestion here does not make sense. So what I need to do is, one second, I will create my list of restrictions of travel, then call restrictions, then new array list, and then I will check one by one. So filter, if filter is present, I will include, but remember, we have the Fluent API right now. So travel, city, the name, equal to city. Okay, let's see why it's not working. Equals to city. And then I will keep in the flow. So the type, the min price, and the max price. So I just need to greater than equal, less than equal, and then I need to convert this one to, I need to convert this one here to restrict. Any, and then convert to array. So right now, I'm check filter by filter. If that is the attribute, what I will do is include this filter. The next step is to create a resource. So I come here, I go to my TravelResource, create a new class, TravelResource. I will define as application scope. I will consume application JSON. I will produce the media type.
application JSON. I should do the same here. I will inject my travel service. And then I will do a search by service, by filter request. Naturally, what we usually have is post or put, but what we want to do is using the query method. So what do I need to do? I come here, create a new annotation called query. Here I need to define the target. That is okay by method, and then the orientation by runtime. And finally, I will define my HTTP method that I will use naturally query. So I have everything set up. Now I came here and I can use query, and also I need to define my path. So in this case, I will define travels. So path travels. And one thing that I forget, I put here my field visibility strategy to take whatever. So taking the field or the method. Why did I do that? Just to come here, it define my JSON visibility as field strategy. The next step naturally involves execution this code. Okay, let's compile and then see. So one important point here, I put restricted any, but also we have the all. So any work as or, and all it will work as and. Okay, so in this case, let's keep it as all, because if activated, it should be on the criteria as well. So I will leave here the exit mode. I will run a clean package, and then I will execute java/jar, and then take my application. So it is already up. So let's see what they offer to me. So in now one, I can play around. So the type business. So I have London and Tokyo. If I define the mean price as 2,800, only Tokyo, but if I go here and define as max, it will return London. So that is it for today. So my goal was to cover and explore a little bit how to achieve the query HTTP method using JAX-RS. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. So it's basically create a new annotation, and that's it. Hopefully you enjoy, and see you soon.